I never imagined one summer could unravel everything I thought I knew about longing, shame, and the fragile divide between right and wrong. It began when my cousin Caleb moved into our house in Ashwood, a quiet suburb of Oregon. We weren't close growing up. He lived hours away in Salem, and family gatherings were scarce. But when his campus housing shut down for repairs, my mom opened our spare room to him. I didn't protest. Home from college myself, drifting in the hazy gap between terms and meaning, I figured his arrival might shake up the monotony of my days. Caleb showed up with a subtle, effortless charm. Not loud or showy, just undeniably there, tall, wiry, with angular features and a faint, knowing grin. He moved like someone aware of his appeal, but unbothered by it, his quiet intensity drawing eyes without effort. We slipped into a rhythm quickly, late-night TV marathons, banter about our messy relatives, or cooking eggs together in easy silence. At first, it was innocent, but soon, the mundane started to hum with something else. His shoulder grazing mine as we grabbed the same mug, the way sweat glistened on his brow after a jog, or how his voice softened when he was sleepy. Each moment carved itself into me, sharp and unshakable. What rattled me wasn't just the glances or fleeting touches, but how effortless it felt, how easy it was to forget he was my cousin. We hadn't grown up swapping stories or sharing traditions. We were just two people navigating each other's orbits in close quarters. One night, sprawled on the couch during a film, Caleb dozed off, his head tilted toward me, breath slow and even. I should have scrolled my phone, changed the channel, anything to snap out of it. Instead, I stared, my gaze lingering on the line of his throat, the steady rise of his chest. Guilt surged, chased by something sharper, temptation. I stood abruptly, left the room, lights still on, desperate to anchor myself to boundaries. He was family, I repeated, but the word felt hollow with every echo. I pulled back after that, keeping my smiles guarded, my laughs measured. But something had shifted, and I sensed he felt it too. One humid afternoon, I heard the shower running, too long, nearly an hour. Steam seeped under the bathroom door, thick and beckoning. I paced the hall, telling myself it was concern. Maybe he'd slipped. Maybe something was wrong. Lies I fed myself as I leaned closer, ear to the door, hearing only water and faint splashes. I knocked softly. "Caleb?" No response. I knocked again, louder. Nothing. The knob turned too easily. Unlocked. Opening the door felt like stepping into a dream. Heat rushed out, steam blurring the room, but not enough to hide him. Behind the half-open glass, Caleb stood under the spray, head back, water tracing his lean frame, muscles taut, hands braced against the tiles. The intimacy of it, his unawareness, his vulnerability, hit harder than the sight itself. My breath hitched. I should have left, shut the door, but I was rooted, mouth dry, a strange ache blooming. Not hunger, not quite, something rawer, hungrier. I was seeing what I wasn't meant to, and it held me captive. Then he shifted, just enough for me to catch the edge of his jaw, the curve of his shoulder in the misty glow. His eyes stayed shut, lost in his own world, and that made it heavier. I stumbled back, heart racing, and eased the door shut with a faint click. In my room, I slumped against the wall, shame coiling tight. But the image of him burned behind my eyes, indelible. At dinner, Caleb was his usual self. Light, unbothered, oblivious. I couldn't look at him without heat creeping up my neck. His smile across the table wasn't my cousin's anymore. It was the shadow in the steam. Something in me had fractured, irreversible. The days after felt fragile, like stepping on thin ice. We talked, laughed, shared chores, but every word was careful, every touch avoided. His gaze lingered too long when I spoke, His hand grazed mine, passing a dish, and neither of us pulled away fast enough. We acted normal, but the air was thick with what we wouldn't name. Then came a stormy evening, thunder rattling the windows. The power cut out after dinner, leaving us in candlelight's flicker. Caleb lit another wick, smirking. "Mood lighting, huh?" I forced a chuckle. We sat on the couch, a blanket between us, a movie humming on my laptop. Rain lashed the house, but the real tempest was inside me. He leaned closer to see the screen, our arms brushing. I didn't move. Time blurred. His head rested lightly against mine, a quiet claim. I shut my eyes, pretending it was nothing, but when his cheek grazed mine, a spark ignited. Our eyes met, raw and unguarded. He leaned in, hesitant but deliberate. I didn't stop him. Our lips touched, soft, then urgent. Guilt, desire, fear swirled in that kiss, his hand cupping my jaw, grounding me in the chaos. For a moment, the world dissolved. When we broke apart, silence swallowed us. Caleb stood, rubbing his neck, eyes wide with something like dread. He started. I shook my head. "Don't." He nodded once and left, the room dimmer without him. Alone, my lips still buzzed, my breath uneven. It was a small act, but its weight was seismic. A line had been crossed, a door flung open we couldn't shut. Morning came, and the house felt colder, though the coffee Caleb brewed still scented the air. I hid in my room, skipped meals, feigned busyness, but evasion only delays the truth. On the porch, I found him, earbuds in, staring at his phone. He looked up, no grin, just steady eyes. "We need to talk," he said. I sat, the cushion cold between us. Silence stretched, heavy as the pines rustling nearby. "I didn't mean for it to happen," I murmured. "Me neither," he said, gaze fixed ahead. "But I didn't stop it." His honesty stung, no blame to hide behind. We'd both wanted it, not cleanly, not proudly, but undeniably. "What now?" I asked, dreading the answer. "I don't know," he said, "but we can't undo it." The truth settled like stone. We'd rewritten what we were to each other. "No one can know," I said, almost to myself. "No," he agreed, but secrecy felt like a cage, not a shield. We resumed our routine, meals, small talk, chores, but it was all performative, the ease gone. I replayed the kiss, not for thrill, but for the fleeting clarity it gave. Now, everything was muddled. One afternoon, I stood outside the bathroom again, shower roaring, steam curling out. But this time, I didn't knock. I didn't open the door. I walked away, the weight of consequence heavier than desire's pull. Yet, as I retreated, a question lingered. What happens when the forbidden stops feeling wrong and starts feeling fated? We'd crossed the line, but maybe we were already too deep to turn back.